Good morning. It is Saturday, October 24th, 2020. You can now relax and be informed. Here is your daily bite of news. In the Azerbaijan-Armenia dispute, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is talking with the foreign ministers of the two countries in a diplomatic bid to halt the fighting. Several ceasefires have already failed. In an interview, Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev said his country is prepared to lay down its arms, conditioned if Armenia pulls out of occupied borderlands. The president claims that damage to residential buildings and churches from missile fire was not intentional. "We publicly said we will take revenge, but on the battlefield," Aliyev said. "We do not kill civilians. We do not target religious sites." Aliyev also calls for all other countries to stay away from direct involvement, referring to Turkey and Russia. Russia is the ally of Armenia. Aliyev denies charges that Turkey-backed Syrian mercenaries are fighting with his Azerbaijan army. "It's all fake news aimed at damaging the image of the country," he says. A Navy T-6B Texan II plane crashed into a residential area in Foley, Alabama on Friday afternoon. The aircraft was used to train Navy and Marine pilots. The instructor and the student both sadly died, but no civilians were injured. A house nearby did catch on fire from debris. A witness said the plane was flying very low to the ground before it took a nosedive to the ground. The Department of Defense is investigating the incident. The COVID-19 pandemic is unfortunately nearing its previous high point in U.S. surge recorded this past July. This Thursday, new cases rose to 61,141, according to the COVID tracking project data. On Friday, America counted 82,600 new infections. Florida and Texas recently led a surge across the Sun Belt. The virus is hitting the Dakotas, Montana, and Wisconsin the hardest. The country is running more tests than during the last two waves, which uncovers more cases, but positivity rates and hospitalizations signal the outbreak is expanding again. According to Johns Hopkins University, 223,000 Americans have died from the virus. There have been 1,143,399 deaths worldwide. Chief executive officers from Facebook Incorporated and Twitter Incorporated have agreed to testify on November 17th before a Senate panel looking into restrictions their company put on an article about Hunter Biden. The Judiciary Committee on Thursday announced subpoenas for both CEO Mark Zuckerberg and Twitter chief Jack Dorsey. The Senate and Trump administration are heightening pressure on companies and other tech giants over allegations they are biased against conservatives. Questions will be asked about company specifics on content policies and their liability protections for user content under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Conservatives claim that the law enables companies to silence views and content that do not align with company owners' own liberal opinions. In St. Petersburg, Florida, the city has decided to post law enforcement officials at 5 early voting sites as a precaution after armed vigilantes posed as security guards outside a polling station. The men told law enforcement called to the scene that they had been hired by the Trump campaign to provide security, but Thea McDonald, a spokeswoman for the presidential campaign, emphatically said they had not been hired or directed to go to the voting location. The incident is being raised as a case of voter suppression, since a voter might decide to turn away after seeing an armed individual with a weapon at a polling station. While the intention may have been to make voters feel safe and at ease, some say it isn't necessary for armed law officers to be inside polling places. Scientist Susanna Scott, professor of chemistry at University of California, Santa Barbara, and her team of chemists have developed a new method of breaking down molecules in polyethylene plastics and upcycling them into usable liquid carbon. Until now, the recycling of plastic waste has been hindered by the fact plastics deteriorate when recycling plants try to melt and reshape them, turning them into a nasty mess, and using a lot of energy and greenhouse gases to do so. Polyethylene single-line plastic make up 1/3 of 400 million metric tons of plastic waste every year. Susanna's team has found a clean and efficient method for upcycling plastic. The key is to use hydrogen as soon as it forms in the polymer chain, creating energy, and then repeating this process over and over until the solid polymer becomes a liquid. Susanna says, as example, this liquid can be recycled into detergents, a market of $9 billion. A preliminary economic analysis shows their laboratory example could be scaled up in the next few years for commercial use, helping to keep plastic out of landfills and doing good for the environment and the economy. In Colorado, state residents and officials are hoping a cold front and snowstorm moving in on Monday will provide some relief as the East's troublesome fire grows to a larger size. On Friday, 5 people were unaccounted for, and officials worried the blaze would merge with another burn a short 10-mile distance away. The East fire has burned 200 square miles. Dry conditions and strong winds have strengthened the blazes in an area that in the past used to already be deep in snow, but now has drought conditions for the first time in 8 years. Massive plumes of orange smoke were seen rising thousands of feet in the air and made the rounds on social media feeds, looking like apocalyptic images in Estes Park and Grand County. Across the West, wildfires are burning into the fall and even wintertime. California has had 4 million acres burned in total from their summer fires. In Blaine, Washington, scientists discovered the first whole nest of so-called Asian murder hornets. Bad weather delayed plans to destroy the hive on Friday, but they plan to wipe it out Saturday to protect native honeybees. The 2-inch-long hornets deliver painful stings to people and kill a few dozen people a year in Asian countries. Scientists were able to find the hive by attaching trackers with dental floss to a hornet found in a field. So far on the continent, the hornets have been found in Washington State, British Columbia, and Canada, and it is uncertain how they crossed over from Asia. The explicit photos and emails from Hunter Biden released by the New York Post are said to be eerily similar to materials that were being sold from Ukraine last year. Time magazine reports a person was offered the materials for $5 million last year, but they declined. About this time, Rudy Giuliani was searching for potential dirt on Joe Biden. In January, the U.S. cybersecurity firm Area 1 reported that Russian hackers had broken into Burisma's computer systems, the company that Hunter Biden worked for. Selling pilfered private information in Ukraine is commonplace, according to Igor Novikov, a former advisor to Ukraine's presidents. If Borat was able to compromise Rudy Giuliani, imagine what a trained intelligence officer could do, says CIA officer Alex Finley. Novikov warns people to look at the Hunter Biden email story with caution, as Russian intelligence often mixes forged documents with real ones, and that any leaks coming from Ukraine's market should be treated with suspicion. Well, that will do for the news today. If you would like to look up on these topics, please see our description for sources. Subscribe and you should receive a daily news update. Thank you for listening. Be relaxed, be informed, but be connected.